Hi, thank you for coming, everybody. My name is Marty Fahncke, and I am the Chief Marketing Officer for Barton Publishing. I've got many friends here in the audience who've known me for 10 years, and they were like, Barton Publishing? I didn't know you worked there. So I'll just give a quick overview of who Barton Publishing is. It's an 11-year-old company that publishes health and wellness products, primarily focused in the natural health and wellness space, and we do books, music, and now we're about to enter the skincare area as well. Barton is kind of a stealth company. We don't publicize ourselves a whole lot. You've probably seen our products, but you won't know who we are. Anybody here who was at Affiliate Summit last year, you got a goodie bag with a DVD called Whole Tones in your bag. That's one of our products. We have a very robust affiliate program, but we're pretty selective, so we don't necessarily kind of cast a wide net to recruit affiliates. But if you're interested when we're done here in joining us, please let me know. Contact information is right there. So I'm going to talk today about mixing TV, radio, social, and affiliate to drive profits. And the subtitle that was listed in the guide said how to use all of that and a little controversy to generate profits. And the controversy line didn't fit in the number of spaces they gave us for the actual title, so it didn't make it in there. But the controversy part we'll talk about in a few minutes, but I want to tell you that I use a political figure in this presentation, but this is not a political presentation. So regardless of your political bent, please keep in mind this is a marketing presentation and look at it from a marketing perspective. Don't stress so much about the politics of what I'm about to talk about, if that's okay. So the product that I'm doing a case study about is called the Diabetes Solution Kit. The Diabetes Solution Kit is a series of books that we've had it on the market for about 8 years now. It's been very, very successful. And if you have type 2 diabetes or if you have prediabetes and you follow the program that we publish, you will reverse your diabetes. Now, that's important that you know that you can reverse your diabetes because that's going to come out to the controversy part here in just a few minutes. So the way we've marketed that product for many, many years was primarily through search engine optimization, paid search, email, and email lists. And so I came on board with the company a couple of years ago, and I was looking at how they were promoting and where the biggest successes were. I was looking at the affiliates that were having big success with this product, and I was looking at the publications specifically for email that were doing very, very well for this product. And I came up with an interesting theory. So I was looking at our major #1 outlets for this particular product. Newsmax, The Blaze, Salem Communications, Rush Limbaugh program, Hannity. All of those were our best performing email lists. And by the way, if you think you can't make money on email, you're wrong. You can make a lot of money on email if you know what you're doing. That's not today's topic, but we're going to get there. So I looked at this and I said, what's the common denominator between all of these email publishers that are our biggest outlets? And some of those were massive. For example, Newsmax, we were spending $400,000 a month on Newsmax profitably in email. So they have huge lists, hugely responsive lists, and it can generate a ton of revenue. And the one thing that I recognized that was a consistent pattern throughout all of these was they all have offline media properties driving traffic to create those lists. Most of them were on the radio. So when I started doing a full analysis of the media, I realized that conservative radio was what was lists generated by conservative radio were what was driving the most traffic and the most revenue. So I asked the CEO, why aren't we on the radio? And he said, I don't know how to do radio. Fair enough. So the theory was, let's test the radio. So I went ahead and created a campaign. Hang on. There's a slide missing. Okay. So I went ahead and created a campaign for the radio, and I bought radio ads on all of those same networks, and it was crazy successful. That was in 2014. Couple of things we learned. Number one, that people who purchase from the email lists of these publications will purchase even larger from radio ads that they hear. The other thing that I learned is that it was very much a seasonal product. First quarter, second quarter, hugely successful. Third quarter, a little bit less successful. Fourth quarter, nobody buys because nobody wants to think about their health in fourth quarter. They just want to eat turkey and candy around Christmas time. So we learned that there was a seasonal factor to that. So I took what we learned that year, and it was very successful, and I took it to the next level, and I said, who could make this even bigger? Well, I was looking around, and I found Governor Mike Huckabee. Now again, this is not a political presentation. Whatever your thoughts are on Republicans, Democrats, that's not what this is about. This is about marketing. And I analyzed who our audience would respect and who our audience would listen to if they were to endorse a product. The other thing about Governor Huckabee that was interesting is that he had diabetes, and he reversed his diabetes and cured himself of it naturally. So he basically used the same program that we have that we're selling to do what he did and save his own life. His doctor gave him 3 to 5 years to live, and he used that program, and that was almost 20 years ago. So it was really a perfect match. He's a voice who works really well with conservative radio. He has a story that matches exactly what our product does, and so the theory was, let's test that out and see what happens. So we created a 60-second radio ad, and I'm going to play that ad for you now.
Mike Huckabee. I was the governor of Arkansas and ran for president in 2008, and I used to be a diabetic. One of the coolest campaigns I ever took on and won was the crusade that reversed my type 2 diabetes naturally. I was able to get off the medications I'd taken, and I lost 110 pounds of fat in the process. If you or someone you care about has type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, I urge you to pay close attention to what I'm about to tell you. The same methods I used to reverse my type 2 diabetes are found today in the Diabetes Solution Kit from Barton Publishing. It's an all-natural plan that really could work for you in reversing type 2 diabetes and prevent it from coming back, all in as little as 4 weeks, with your doctor's approval. Stop suffering. Here's how to get your hands on the Diabetes Solution Kit today.
Get your Diabetes Solution Kit now at diabetes22.com. Everything you need to reverse your type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes like Governor Huckabee did is at diabetes22.com. Reverse your diabetes today at diabetes20.
Okay, so a couple of Easter eggs I'll give in there to let you know some little secrets. Number one, what we used was a 60-second radio ad to drive traffic to a 30-minute online infomercial. And it was crazy successful. Running that 60-second ad, we ran it nationwide. We also tested a couple of things. We tested phone number, we tested web response, and we tested a combined phone number and web response. And our analysis came back that web response far superior. People wanted to go to the web to learn more. They didn't want to call a phone number. Not surprising. Number two, we found that mentioning the phone number the web address 5 times during a 60-second ad was the magic number. We tested mentioning it 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, and 7 times, all in 60 seconds. We found out that 5 times in 60 seconds was kind of the magic number. So once somebody went to the URL, they would land on a landing page that looked just like this here on the left. It had a player on it, headline, and an add to cart button, and that was it. Very simple, no copy whatsoever on it, and it was purely a video. I'll show you what the first just few seconds of the video look like.
Hello, I'm Mike Huckabee. Let me tell you that diabetes can be reversed. I should know because I did it, and today you can too. It's all about making simple lifestyle changes and healthier food choices. And there is no other way to reverse diabetes. Prescription drugs aren't going to cure you. They're only going to keep you a loyal, pill-popping, finger-pricking, insulin-shooting customer, so Big Pharma and the mainstream medical community can rake in over $100 billion a year annually. But that's not your only option.
So that's the lead in to the 30-minute infomercial that we play. Now, another thing to keep in mind here is you'll hear many people talking about video marketing, and they'll say, you never want to have more than a 2-minute video or a 3-minute video. People won't watch longer than that. People will watch longer than that if you're giving them a video that's engaging and informative. and captures their attention to keep them on there. We had a 63% completion rate on that video, so 63% of the people came to watch that video stayed through the entire 30 minutes. So people will watch long videos if they are good. Something else about this page, we optimized a number of different lead-ins. I actually shot 5 different lead-ins for this video. We actually shot in, that's his actual office in his home. We shot in Governor Huckabee's home. We shot a kitchen one and a couple of different in the office and one outside, all with different scripting. We tested 9 different variable openings and to see which one would work best, and this was the one that actually won. When we first launched the campaign, we were averaging a 5% conversion rate on cold traffic. You think about that, that's 5% of the people coming from a 60-second snippet that's just a curiosity factor. It was pretty good. By the time we optimized, we were running an 8% conversion rate on this video. All right, so talk a little bit about what you came here to learn, which is how the combination of TV, radio, and affiliate kind of works together. So this is a trend line of this campaign from week 1 through week 10. Actually, the slide is only showing 7 and cut off for some reason. Okay. Well, I have all of them here, so I'm not sure why I did that. So, so something interesting, very interesting happened that we weren't sure was going to happen, but we're very grateful that it did. If you look at week 1, the blue on the bottom is my radio spend for that radio campaign, and the red is my affiliate commissions that I've paid out, okay? Now, what I've not included in here is my SEO revenue, my social media revenue, all of my other revenue sources that hit this campaign. Everything had that same trend line. But what was interesting to me was the affiliate commissions, and we're at Affiliate Summit, so let's talk about that. So my first week I put that out on the radio. I tested it really small. I'm an extremely conservative tester. And I spend as little as money as possible testing, and I spend as much money as I can rolling out. The very first week I ever put this on the air, I spent $5,000, and I generated $3,000 in straight radio revenue, and I generated $73,000 in affiliate revenue. So the next week I said, well, that worked out pretty good. So I ramped up my radio media budget quite a bit, and I generated $31,000 in radio sales, and I generated $148,000 in affiliate sales. So what did I do? I bought more. Next week, week 3, was $35,000 in radio sales, $179,000 in affiliate. Week 4 is $57,000 in radio sales, $280,000 in affiliate sales. Again, keeping in mind all my other channels were spiking up just as strong. Now, something important to note, the timing on this. So I entered in this contract with Governor Huckabee in late 2014. At that time, he was a commentator on Fox News, and he was thinking about running for president. One of the stipulations in my contract with Governor Huckabee was that if he declared his candidacy for president, we had to take this campaign down, because he didn't want ad campaigns with his endorsement while he was trying to run for president, which made sense. So I agreed to those terms because I knew this was going to be a huge, huge success. As we keep going up to week 7, the final peak week that you can see right there, my radio revenue did $98,000 that week, and my affiliates did $800,000 that week. That's 1 week. Okay. Again, our Facebook was climbing just as much, our SEO was climbing just as much, our display was climbing just as much, and all of our email partners, going back to the Blaze and Newsmax and the Hannity list and all those email partners, were all seeing double, triple, quadruple response rates from what they were seeing before the campaign. So how many have heard the old adage that a consumer needs to see your message 7 times before they respond? It's like old school, like everybody knows that, right? Well, I submit 2 things. Number one, that in today's day and age, we're so bombarded with advertising messages, far beyond anything we ever used to be, that I don't believe 7 is the right number. I think it's more like 20, maybe even more, but let's say it's 20. But one of the things I've noticed is that it's not enough to have 20 ad messages in the same place. When you take an ad message and you distribute it across multiple platforms and multiple mediums, the results become exponential. So what happened here is people would hear the ad on the radio. These are people who are listening to the Rush Limbaugh show. They were listening to Hannity. They were listening to all these conservative talk show radio programs. They weren't necessarily responding right then to the radio. But then they would go to their computer and something else would pop up in front of them. An affiliate banner, a Facebook ad, an email would show up into their inbox, all sorts of things, whatever. And so you can see that the results from the branding, and I'm an old school direct response guy. I'm an infomercial guy is where I started in this business. So when people talk about brand advertising, I just laugh. But you can't deny that when you look at the blue number, the straight radio broadcast is kind of going up just slightly, but the red number on the affiliate side and all my other numbers were skyrocketing because of the power of that brand and that messaging of Governor Huckabee saying, I did it, you can too. So again, perfect messenger to the perfect audience with the perfect message, and things went very, very well. Okay, so I also had in my description that a little controversy was going to come into play. Well, I learned in early 2015 what fake news was, about a year and a half before the rest of the world really started talking about it. The New York Times was given a mission of crushing Mike Huckabee. Now, a year and a half ago when I would say that, people had no idea what I was talking about. Today, people know that the media actually is biased. The New York Times wrote a hit piece on Huckabee using me and my product as the ammunition. They contacted us and wrote an article that was really full of lies. Number one, they said we sold pills that were scams, which we don't sell pills. Number two, they said you can't reverse diabetes, and because the American Diabetes Association said so. I gave them the American Diabetes Association studies that say you can, and they chose to ignore those. So it was very interesting what happened. The New York Times ran a piece talking about Huckabee being, they called him a snake oil salesman, and they started calling him the huckster. Immediately, the rest of the media picked up on it. So we started seeing, Huckabee started appearing on CNN, on Face the Nation, NPR. We started getting all sorts of people talking about the diabetes solution kit. As we've all learned from the current political climate, even bad press can be good press. Our sales continue to skyrocket. So now we took what at the time was a radio-only campaign. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the reason it was radio-only was because Fox News wouldn't let him do a TV campaign because of his contract with them. But we took a radio-only campaign, which was paid, and turned it into a TV campaign, which was not paid for and theoretically negative, but our sales continued to skyrocket through the roof. The more and more people asked him about it, and the more and more he defended it, saying, you can't deny what I did. I had diabetes, now I don't. And more people were researching us. Our affiliate sales continue to go up. Our search engine sales continue to go up, et cetera. So controversy can be very good. Now, when I was living through it at the time, it was pretty brutal. And having reporters calling you constantly and lying to you and lying about you, that's not fun. Don't necessarily want to go through that again. But it was interesting to see that the more they tried to make this look bad, the more they were helping us increase sales. So just something to think about there. All right, so back to a couple of numbers here. Here is the rest of that chart. That's quite the peak. Let me tell you what happened. As I mentioned, the governor had a contract with us that if he declared his candidacy for presidency, we had to take down the national campaign. When he decided to invoke that, I said, well, listen, I'll pull down the radio stuff, but can I keep all of the web stuff for a period of time after that? And he said, yeah, you can keep that going for about another 30 days. So I turned off the radio completely, and look what happened to the affiliate stuff. The only thing that changed was the radio campaign. And you see that the sales is dropping completely. So again, it reinforces that multi-channel, multi-platform messaging that without the support of the radio and with the TV reporters had moved on to new topics by that time and weren't talking about it, Without that TV exposure, without that radio exposure, even the affiliates started seeing a pretty massive decline in sales. All right, so one of the questions I promised to answer was how affiliates help drive profits for offline advertising. So for those of you, I mentioned I'm in the infomercial business. I know I have a few other people here who do kind of hardcore direct response. The golden metric is always 2 to 1. If I spend $100,000, I want to make $200,000. And back in the day, you could do that on TV, you could do that on radio, and fortunes have been made on that, and 3 to 1s and 4 to 1s, et cetera. Today, in the media environment, it's really not that possible. It's almost impossible, as a matter of fact. Most companies run a deficit media for their broadcast. So anybody here ever heard of a product called Proactive Solution by Guthrie-Renker? It's a skincare product. A lot of people have used it. A lot of people buy it for themselves, buy it for their kids. It's one of the most successful infomercial products of all time. Just an interesting point of fact, Guthrie-Renker spends about $3 million a year on advertising that on television, and they generate $1 million a year on, those numbers aren't right, $30 million a year on TV, $10 million a year in actual direct sales. Where they make all their money is on the continuity. So they do about $1 billion a year on the back end once they get your name in the list. The nice thing about that product is it works really well. The other nice thing about it is if you stop using it, your acne comes back almost immediately, so people get on that thing and they stay on it for life. So today, putting a product on the radio, putting it on TV, spending one amount of money and expecting to make a profit immediately just probably isn't going to happen. That wouldn't have happened with this either. So I was spending, at the peak, $100,000 a week on the radio, and I was generating $60,000 a week in revenue at the peak. If I wouldn't have had all of the other channels of operation going at that time, I would have been losing money hand over fist. So what happened when you saw on that spreadsheet, so I was spending $100,000 a week. I was doing $60,000 a week in direct radio revenue. But if you take a look at all my affiliate revenue, $800,000 a week, you add up all of my other revenue, I'm not going to disclose that number, but it was just a gob of money. So, multi-channel, absolutely critical. Now, something else that everybody wanted to know, well, okay, so that's on the broadcaster side. What about, what about affiliates? How does this impact us? Well, something to think about is if you look at this chart again, if you were an affiliate and you're right around in here, yeah, I'm paying some nice commissions. And people are doing pretty well. They're driving traffic. We're doing maybe a 4 or 5% conversion rate. So it's got a pretty good EPC. But once I add in the radio and start spending more and more on the radio, you can see what happens. So if you're an affiliate or if you're a network, keep an eye out for merchants and advertisers that have multi-channel campaigns because they're driving more interest, more awareness. That's going to mean more revenue, higher conversions, better EPCs. And so the bottom line is with the right media mix, everybody can win. That's my presentation. I hope you have a lot of questions for me because I really went high level, but I want to go deep if anybody's got some questions to take down deeper into the data and the numbers. If you do have a question, they ask that you please step up to this microphone up here and ask the question in the microphone so that it can be recorded for the camera. Yes, sir, Todd.
Excellent presentation.
Thank you.
Did you find that your conversion rates for affiliates increased, or was it the traffic, or was it both when your radio spends ramped up?
The conversion rate for the affiliates?
Yeah, so you said like a 4 or 5% conversion rate normally at the beginning.
Oh.
And then did that conversion rate increase substantially across the board for all affiliates?
It did.
Or was it
Yeah, it did.
So
that's a great question. So this is a 3-year time span, and because this is only technically a 20-minute presentation, I have to go really quick. But if you look at my first year of radio without my first year of online only, the conversion rate for that product with really the same creative ran around 3%. I added radio to the mix, and radio increased that to about 5%, right around 5%. As soon as I added the celebrity endorsement into the mix, conversions ran 8%, and that was across all channels, affiliate, non-affiliate, et cetera. Actually, the direct radio channels were running about 12%. So if somebody heard the URL, went right to the URL, and that one was running like 12%. But all third-party channels, SEO, Facebook, affiliates, yeah. So without any radio support, 3%. With kind of branded radio support, 5%, and with celebrity radio support, 8% conversions. Thanks for that question.
Hi, Marty. What are some suggestions you have for acquiring those celebrity endorsements in your market for radio? So you showed us one example, and I'm curious to know more specifically in the health, fitness, weight loss, diet, recipe space.
How to acquire celebrity endorsers for your product?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. I can happily answer that. So number one is you've got to look at an endorser that has a story that will resonate with your audience. And it can be very difficult to find that person and negotiate with that person a deal that will work out. That took me 18 months to put that deal with Huckabee together. You have to work with all sorts of agents and managers and all sorts of stuff. After this, I followed, because he declared his candidacy for president, I looked around and said, well, who else could I get that would fit the demographic? I see a lot of young faces in here, so you may not know who this is, but if anybody here has ever watched Leave It to Beaver, who replaced Governor Huckabee was Jerry Mathers. And so Jerry Mathers, for the last year and a half, has been our celebrity endorser. He resonates really well with our target audience, which is kind of 50-plus seniors, and everybody loves the guy. The interesting thing about Huckabee is if you were a conservative and kind of listened to that media, you loved him, but obviously if you weren't, you hated him, so it really polarized my audience. I mean, I'm not complaining, we did crazy well with it, but Jerry Mathers did phenomenal because he appealed to everybody in my target audience. So the number one secret is find somebody who's going to appeal to your target audience. Number two is if they're a celebrity that's been in movies or TV or anything like that, IMDb, here's a little secret that's going to save you about $1 million, by the way. IMDb, everybody knows what IMDb is, right? Internet Movie Database. You can pay $19.95 for a pro membership in IMDb, and that unlocks the agent of every person on IMDb, their agent, their lawyer, who their reps are, who their manager is, and sometimes even their personal phone number. It's crazy, for $20 a month. So go through IMDb, get a pro membership, and find somebody that you might want to, and you can just reach out to them and say, hey, I've got this product, love to see if you're interested in endorsing it. If they're a celebrity who's not an IMDb type celebrity, like a fitness person or maybe more of an internet celebrity or something like that, again, just reach out to them and contact them. By the way, there's a lot of talk right now about influencer marketing. This is related to influencer marketing, but it's not quite the same thing. I didn't pay Governor Huckabee like $100,000 to tweet about my product. I mean, he endorsed the product and lives it and breathes it and actually has a great story to tell about it. And I think that's important because consumers, depending on your demographic, most consumers are smart. And they will know if the person who's talking about your product really cares about it or not. And maybe you can get somebody to just talk about it who doesn't care and you'll sell some, but finding somebody who truly resonates with your brand is very, very important. As far as negotiating with a potential celebrity endorser, the ways of structuring a deal are infinite. Some just look for cash up front. Some are looking for cash plus a piece of the revenue that they generate based on their campaign. Some are they'll want to co-develop a product and actually be a part of developing something with you. Just kind of depends on how entrepreneurial they are and how many other things they have going on and whatnot. But it's actually easier than you'd think. There's also a couple of agencies out there who are celebrity brokers for endorsements that you can just Google, celebrity endorsement brokers or talent agencies, and you could work with them to find it. So, great question.
Do you have any hacks for finding affiliate programs that are doing multi-channel advertising that we can hook up, that we can connect with, or do you just have to pay attention?
I don't have any hacks for that, Janet, but thanks for asking. I would say, yeah, just pay attention. I mean, if you happen to see a TV campaign that that resonates with you, and I wonder if they've got an affiliate program, go join a magazine or just kind of whatever. I mean, affiliates, this is really kind of an advertiser-centric session, and so, but on the affiliate side, when I used to be on that side of the business, I mean, I would just look for products that I thought were quality products that had good companies behind them and had advertising campaigns behind them. I never wanted to be like the guy who had to kind of have the burden of getting the product sold all by myself. I always looked for things that had other ways of promoting the product. So really just keeping your eyes open. Who's actually out there doing interesting stuff from a marketing perspective and ride their coattails? So, great question. Okay, we'll take this last question and then we're done.
Okay. What types of products work best on radio? It seems like yours is a real information-intensive sort of sale. I sell tires, so I don't know if radio would work or not for that.
I think tires would work great on radio. So what kind of products work well is products that you can visualize in your mind without having to see them, okay? So you sell tires, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sort of a car guy, but even being a car guy, all tires kind of look the same to me. So there must be something about what you have to offer for tires that's unique that nobody else has. Mm-hmm. Would you agree?
Yeah, as far as the tires themselves, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, what's your USP? What's your hook?
Great service, a wide selection, good prices, great service.
Okay, there you go. So you create a radio ad that says, all tires look alike. So we didn't buy expensive TV advertising, we bought radio advertising. So just think about what your tires look like and come to our site, and all the money we saved by not buying TV, we'll pass on to you.
Okay,
just a thought.
Thank you. Thanks for that. I think that's great. And just a quick follow-up, do you have any information about internet radio advertising? Is that very different or?
No, it's not. Actually, we've used Pandora very aggressively, very successfully as well, and Spotify both. Pandora and Spotify both, although their rates are starting to go through the roof. So, definitely want to test small, but a big part of my ongoing campaigns have been both Pandora and Spotify. So thanks for that question. I'm getting the hook. I will be available right outside the room if you have any additional questions. In the meantime, thank you very much.